Our program is hosted Monday through Friday from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and each Sunday from 1:30 to 3 p.m. Call our toll-free number at 833-548-0276. Again, that's 833-548-0276. Dial in our meeting ID, which is 872-192-5979 #. Bypass the participant ID by pressing pound. And once you're in, raise your hand to ask your question by pressing *9. When it's your turn to ask your question, dial *6 to unmute yourself. You can also join via Zoom video by going to ebiblefellowship.org and clicking the icon at the top. If you're calling in from another country, on our website, select the toll-free button at the top to find your country's number.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing well by God's grace. Thank you. Please go ahead.
2 Kings chapter 25, verse 27 to 30.
2 Kings 25:27. And it came to pass in the 7th and 30th year of the captivity of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 27th day of the month, that evil Merodach, king of Babylon, in the year that he began to reign, did lift up the head of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, out of prison. And he spake kindly to him, and set his throne above the throne of the kings that were with him in Babylon, and changed his prison garments, that he did eat bread continually before him all the days of his life. And his allowance was a continual allowance given him of the king, a daily rate for every day, all the days of his life.
Yeah, Chris, do you know the spiritual meaning of these verses?
I think we can understand what's going on there spiritually. I just want to see something. Oops, wrong book. Just want to check out something concerning the name of the king there.
Yeah, this king, I don't recall this evil Merodach.
Okay, yeah. This Jehoiachin. I believe that's what it said. Right in verse 27, Jehoiachin, king of Judah, and we read in Ezekiel 1. In Ezekiel 1, verse 2, in the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of King Jehoiachin's captivity. And this is also said to be the 30th year in verse 1. Now it came to pass in the 30th year and so forth, when they're captives by the river of Chebar. And the 30th year reference is referring to when they found the book of the law, and that was in 622, 623 BC. So the 5th year of Jehoiachin was 593. He would have been taken captive 598, and that would make it also the 30th year from finding the book of the law. So that helps us to date what the year here. It came to pass in the 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiachin. Again, he's taken captive 598 BC, and the 37th year would be 561 BC. It's still within that overall 70-year historical tribulation period from 609 to 539. And the king of Babylon's still reigning. It's a different king, but he's still a king of Babylon. And the king of Babylon always spiritually points to Satan. So that helps us where we're told in this 37th year of King Jehoiachin's captivity, evil Merodach, king of Babylon, a type and figure of Satan, in the year he began to reign, did lift up the head of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, out of prison, and he spake kindly to him, and set his throne above the throne of the kings that were with him in Babylon. So the Babylonians conquered many nations, and they would take the king, typically, of the conquered nation captive back to Babylon. And so there were other kings from other nations. They had many nations, and all these nations became their provinces that they ruled over. And now this particular king of Babylon, a descendant of Nebuchadnezzar, he takes a liking to Jehoiachin, a king of Judah. And Jehoiachin would have been fairly young when he was taken captive, so 37 years. He's probably an old man. I don't know exactly the age, but he's late 50s, early 60s, and this king takes a liking to him and brings him out of prison, spake kindly to him, set his throne above the thrones of the kings that were with him in Babylon, all these other prisoner kings that these various nations, and changed his prison garments, and he did eat bread continually before him all the days of his life, and his allowance was a continual allowance given him of the king, a daily rate for every day, all the days of his life. Sounds good. Sounds good. Has he found favor in the eyes of the king of Babylon? God did tell the Jews to go into captivity and he would bless them there. Is this what God was speaking of? No, because these kings of Judah were evil kings. And same with Jehoiachin. He's representing the apostate church that ultimately came under the power of Satan, as typified by the king of Babylon, when Satan overcame the churches and congregations. And what this is telling us is that normally to eat bread and to have continual bread all the days of one's life, we would think is positive if it's God providing the bread. But this is a completely different picture than that. This is Satan providing the bread. This is Satan's kindness, Satan's gospel, and Satan's doctrine, and Satan's truth, which is no truth at all, but always a lie. That this king is basically a puppet of Satan. He is now, as 2 Corinthians 11 speaks of, ministers of righteousness, that kind of idea. It is the churches that have become so accustomed to the hostile takeover of the devil of their congregations and of all the strange customs of Babylon. They're so accustomed to them right now because it was so many years, and since the assault took over, so many years since they were in Judah or within the actual kingdom of God, with the actual Spirit of God in their presence and midst, that they have lost sight of what truth is, and now they're eating the bread of the devil. They're eating the bread of deceitfulness. Remember what God tells us in 1 Corinthians chapter 10. In 1 Corinthians 10, he says in, let's see, in 1 Corinthians 10, verse 17, for we being many are one bread and one body, for we are all partakers of that one bread. Behold, Israel after the flesh, are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar? What say I then? That the idol is anything, or that which is offered and sacrificed to idols is anything? But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, and not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and the table of devils. And this is the table of the devil that Jehoiachin is eating at. And he is picturing what has happened, the tragedy that has taken place within the churches and congregations of the world as they comfortably sit at the table of devils, you know, and when the Spirit of God has departed and Satan's spirit remain, well, who is it? Who is it that is laying out this teaching? Who is it that is putting forth this doctrine and so forth? And it's not God. It's not God. And so it only leaves one other possibility, and that is the devil.
Praise to God for guiding us, trusting in His word the way. Thanks to God for guiding us, leading us through Judgment Day. He will guide all those